There is no degree that makes you an AI governance specialist so far. And there are no boot camps that would directly just make you an AI governance specialist. And in the next 3 years, the people running these programs at the largest companies will mostly be professionals who transitioned maybe from compliance, legal, security, or project management. That transition path is repeatable. And the next 32 minutes covers 3 things: what the role actually is at each seniority level and what it pays, the 3 skill stacks you need to build and how to sequence them, and the 12-month path from where you are today to your first role. This is not going to be a motivational video. It is operational. If you want an inspiring story about someone who made that leap, this video is really not that time, because this would be a framework. If you want the specific work you need to do this month, next month, and the next 10 months after that, then keep watching. But before I go deeper, a filter. This roadmap works for 3 archetypes: senior professionals in a governance adjacent field like compliance, risk, legal, or audit; technical professionals like engineers or product managers looking to move into governance; and mid-career professionals from an entirely different discipline who are willing to spend a serious 6 months to a year on the pivot. It does not work for people looking for a shortcut. AI governance is a very serious profession. It requires serious learning. The people I've watched succeed took it seriously from month 1, and the people I've watched fail treated it as just a resume update. Let me be precise about what the job actually is, right? So here, let's actually look at what AI governance specialist actually means. Now, what does an AI governance specialist actually mean, or what do they actually do? AI governance specialist is not one role. It is a family of roles that vary by seniority, different levels with different compensation ranges. So let's start at looking at the compensation before we move deeply into what you actually do. Now, level 1, you're an AI governance analyst, which is a junior role, and you support the function. You have inventory maintenance, you have the first pass risk assessment, documentation. You do not lead engagement, right? And typically within the US, compensation ranges between about $70K to about $120K for starters. Now, we're looking at the second level, which is an AI governance specialist. This is usually the mid-level individual contributor, and you own specific programs. So you lead vendor assessments end to end. You also draft the policy language, and you help facilitate your governance committee meetings. And salary ranges is usually about 100 to even 150,000 base. Then the third level, which is the AI governance manager, you lead a small team or a portfolio of programs. You manage stakeholder relationships, probably with senior business leaders. Then you own the function's operational metrics, right? Salaries here are usually between 130 to 180K plus bonus, but this is the base. Now we have level 4, which is usually like an AI governance lead or a principal AI governance officer, and you're a senior individual contributor or a player, right? You set the direction on framework selection. Here you really represent the function to the board. You handle the most complex vendor evaluations and the C-level executive relationships and board relationships. So salary ranges here are usually around 150 to 250 base. And again, it varies per company, right? This is a range. Sometimes you even get equity with the company, depending on the kind of company you're working with. Now, the 5th level is usually someone like the head of AI governance or a director of AI governance, and usually it's very executive, and you own the function. It's usually about a team of like 3 to 15 people, and you usually report to, it's typically the chief risk officer, a general counsel, or the chief AI officer, which is a new role that had been introduced. Now, The salary ranges is usually 200 to 400K base. Then, of course, you have bonuses and then long-term incentives as the company decides. Then the last level is usually the C-level executives, right? Which is like the chief AI officer, the chief AI governance officer, or C-suite, right? And you report to the CEO or to the board. You own the AI function or the governance function at the top of the house, right? And the salary ranges here is usually around 300K to 500 plus, with tons of equity, right? Because you really own the whole product, the whole AI function at this point. Now, 3 important caveats on these numbers. The first is that they are US based. UK, Canada, Australia typically run 20 to 30% lower for equivalent seniority levels. And then EU is really variable and usually even way lower, right? And the second thing is the industry matters. Financial services and pharma pays top of the range. Healthcare pays like mid-range, and then government pays lowest. But stability is always high with the government. Big tech pays through equity and maybe not base. So that's why you'd see most of these salaries at a higher threshold. The third thing is that consulting is a separate track. So Big Four AI governance advisory work is billable. The third, consulting is usually kind of a separate track, right? The Big Four AI governance advisory work is billable at compensation. Base is lower than in-house, but the exposure to varied problems is faster. So from an operational point, if you're transitioning from an adjacent field, you should not be aiming for the analyst level. Your prior experience really counts here. And most successful transitions from compliance, risk, and legal land at specialist or managerial positions directly. And the compensation floor for, a lateral position is typically in the mid 150s and above, right? Not below as the analyst. Now, what does an AI governance specialist do? So an AI governance specialist really is the one who owns the operational system that decides how AI gets built, how AI gets bought, how it gets deployed, and how it gets monitored in an organization. You're really not the technical expert here, right? You don't build the models. Let's get that clear. But you work on the rules, the roles, the processes that determine whether the AI your company is employing is safe. You're looking at the legal aspect. You're looking at alignment with what the big business actually needs. So some of the day-to-day things you do are inventory and discovery. And this is basically knowing what AI is actually in use across your organization. Every model, every vendor tool, every large language model integration or LLM integration, every shadow AI the business unit adopted without telling anyone. If you cannot list it, you really cannot govern it, right? Then risk classification. Every AI system gets triaged into a risk tier. High risk, which is things that touch customers, make decisions about people, sees regulated data and things like that. Then you also have medium risk, which is operational, and maybe mostly internal. Then you also have things like low risk, which are usually just productivity tools we use here and there. And each tier really gets a different level of governance, right? Then you're also looking at things like vendor evaluation, just reviewing new AI tools before they get deployed, reading model cards, system cards, vendor documentation, testing claims, negotiating contract clauses on data use, training rights, incident notification, audit rights. And then also you're reviewing policy and framework, right? Writing the AI acceptable use policy, high risk AI policy, vendor AI policy, and then you're mapping the organization against NIST AI risk management framework, the EU AI Act obligations, the ISO 42001, and any other industry-specific regulations like the FDA, And then, of course, you're also facilitating the committee or running the AI governance committee body and building the agenda, documenting decisions, making sure the committee actually approves or blocks things rather than just discussing them, right? Then your monitoring and incident response, just watching how AI is deployed, or just watching how deployed AI is actually performing, right? Catching things like drift, handling incidents when an AI produces a bad outcome, and reporting it to executives and the board. So, underneath all of this, the real work is really the judgment. When legal has a clear tool, but it still creates unacceptable governance risk. And the specialist is the person who names that and structures the yes and the right controls, or the specific no. After monitoring incident response and reporting to board executives will come here. Now, the role really sits at the intersection of risk, compliance, legal, IT, HR, product, and the executive leadership. It's really not a technical role, and it is not an ethics role either, though it kind of borrows from both of them, right? But it is operational. And the people who really succeed here come from like compliance, risk, legal, security, audit, and program management. And they add AI literacy and framework fluency on top of what they already know and how to do it. I know you might be asking, my background isn't in compliance, risk, and legal, but I am in this field. Yes, I did do some work as a solutions architect and as an enterprise solutions architect, and I do have a little background in program management. So these really came to feed off very well into this field. You would also see people like database engineers or data engineers, SQL engineers, solutions architects succeeding in this role because they understand technically how it works at the background. So it's easier for them to also transition into such a role, because most times you're already building governance into the framework structures you're working on, right? Now that that is cleared out of the way, what governance is, let's look at the 3 skill stacks that you need to grow in this field. The 3 skill stacks you need, I'm going to walk you through each of them and the subcomponents for each of these skill stacks. The first one is going to be AI literacy. You do not need to be an engineer, but you need to be fluent enough to sit in a technical conversation without getting lost, right? So some of the 5 subcomponents under AI literacy you'd want to look at is 1, model types and their differences. What are rule-based systems, classical machine learning, deep learning, large language models, generative models, agentic systems, what each is, what it's good for, what its typical failure modes are. This would be very helpful. Then the AI development lifecycle, the problem framing, data collection, training, validation, deployment, monitoring, what happens at each stage, who's responsible, and where risks get introduced. The third, common technical failure modes, bias, hallucination, drift, adversarial attacks, prompt injection, data leakage, not just the theory, but really examples of how this works. Then the fourth one is like basic evaluation methodology, what model cards contain, what accuracy, precision, recall, and F1 actually measure. You don't have to compute these. You just have to be able to understand them. You have to be able to critique them. The fifth one is enough vocabulary to sit in a technical conversation. Fine-tuning, what is it? Embedding, what does that mean? RAG, agents, guardrails, and not only have that technical vocabulary, but use them correctly, right? Because this is also very, very important. Time to build this stack from 0 to maybe a practitioner or someone who can speak the language. It could be around 2 to 3 months of really focused learning, or even 1 month for those who are fast learners, right? I have an AI literacy course in my YouTube channel. You can go check out, which is very helpful. However, there's also very good courses out there. Andrew NG has a Coursera machine learning course which covers the foundation. Do not spend more than 3 months on this, right? It's the smallest of all the 3 stacks that you need to follow. Now, we have looked at the first stack, which is AI literacy. The second stack, the regulatory and the framework fluency. This is where most people underinvest. Let's look at its subcomponents as well. The first one, NIST AI risk management framework. Both the framework documentation and the playbook, not just skimmed. You read it cover to cover. multiple times, and NIST AI risk management framework is really becoming the de facto global reference, right? Besides the EU AI Act, which brings me to the second one, the EU AI Act. Start with the European Union's practitioner summaries, then work into specific articles that matter for your industry. You really don't have to understand everything. Focus on the high-risk category definitions, maybe deployer versus provider obligations, and then the enforcement mechanisms that are important for you. You'll notice I mentioned NIST because that is the framework that is mostly used within the United States. Now, for organizations and companies that go beyond the US geography into the EU region, you definitely need to know and understand the EU AI Act. Now, the third one is the ISO framework, and we're going to be specific here, ISO 42001. This is the International Management System Standard for Artificial Intelligence, and it is growing quickly, right? And procurement teams are really starting to require it in their vendor RFPs. The fourth one, your industry-specific regulations, maybe FDA guidance, if healthcare, SR 117 or the OCC guidance if in banking. Then we have the NIAC AI Model Bulletin if you're in insurance. Then state-level AI laws if hiring or employment. In the US, we have recently Texas with the TRIAGA, we have California, Colorado, Illinois, New York. So you want to understand all those frameworks. And it takes about 3 to 4 months, right? This is really the largest of 3 of them. Again, you don't have to understand it line for each line, but take an industry and understand exactly what frameworks are in that industry. A conversation that comes up usually is too many frameworks. How do we balance this? Unfortunately, within the United States, there's really no standardized framework that you can point to. We're still juggling between all these different frameworks to come up with one, right? So what I usually do is, or advise clients and companies, is that you build one policy control catalog that you can cross-map across different frameworks, because when you really look at it, most of these frameworks almost speak the same language. So you just build a policy and you cross-map it, a very, very robust policy, and you cross-map it across different frameworks. Now, the third stack, we've looked at the first one, AI literacy. We did look at the second one, which is regulatory and framework fluency. Now, the third stack here is really going to be your organizational and governance skills. And this is the stack most transitioning candidates already have, right? What are some of the components you want to look at as we explore your organizational and governance skills? First is reading a policy document and identifying gaps. If you can look at an acceptable use policy and see what it is and what it says and what it doesn't say, you already have this. The second point, facilitating cross-functional meetings. And you'll notice these are mostly soft skills, right? Facilitating cross-functional meetings where people disagree. If you've chaired a committee where legal and business had opposing views and got to a decision, you have the skill. The third one is writing a charter that gets signed, not just drafting, getting it approved. The political skill of really shepherding a charter through an executive review is very important. The fourth one is building a risk classification system. Any risk taxonomy work you've done transfers directly. The fifth one is presenting to executives and boards, really just distilling complexity into 3 different points, answering questions without getting defensive. This is usually the number 1 differentiator between mid-level and senior-level AI governance practitioners, right? Then you have the 6th one, which is managing programs across functions. Real program management, not just project management, multi-quarter delivery. If you already have this stack, you don't need to build it. You need to learn to articulate that you have it. And almost every senior transitioning candidate underestimates how much this stack transfers, right? Those are the 3 skills and their sub-skills that you need to succeed in this role. Do you need all of them? The 3 major skills? Yes. What about the sub-skills? Most of them you need them, right? I usually just advise getting all of that before you move in. And that's why it's easier for those transitioning into this role to succeed, because they already have most of these skills. Now, your roadmap. This is what I use to mentor people, my students, my clients, organizations, and it's in different phases, right? Sometimes it's 3 phases, others is 4. Then we have weekly practices, monthly deliverables, and then milestones at the end of each phase. So I'm going to give it to you in 3 phases. Phase 1. I don't want to really define months because everyone has a different way they study. So if we're taking just a baseline, some people take 4 months, others take 6 months, others take 12 months. So let's look at the highest threshold, considering that if you are a fast learner, you can bring it down to like 6 months or even 4 months. Now, phase 1 is the foundation. You have your weekly practice, reading source materials through mornings. So just take 30 minutes, read your NIST AI framework the first month, your EU AI Act the second month, and maybe your ISO 42 and your industry regulations in the 3rd and 4th months if you can. If you can do it for shorter time, even better. Then you have your weekly practice 2. So these are different practices you do every week. Practice 2, write 1 LinkedIn post per week or per month, analyzing something you read. Not a hot take, a structured analysis, even just short. This point is muscle building and public evidence of your learning. Then your weekly practice number 3, engage thoughtfully on other practitioners' posts. Maybe 1 comment per week on a post that is related to AI governance or something you did. You add substance, you can agree, you can disagree, but anything. These would be your different practices. Now, for your monthly deliverables, the first month, you want to complete the NIST AI Risk Management Framework. Cover it with notes if you like taking notes. Then the second month, complete the aigp certification, or maybe any other comparable recognized certification. Usually, or today, we have the aigp, which is the AI Governance Practitioner certification. Now, in the 3rd month, maybe publish a detailed LinkedIn analysis of a public AI failure you learned about or that you got to know while you were studying, and then attend an AI governance event. It could be virtual, it could be in person, or even just a webinar. Those are very helpful, and they help you start mastering yourself or understanding the industry language, right? Then by the end of the first phase, you should at least have understood 80% of the people, or you should have more visibility in AI governance. Okay, let's start by the end of your first phase. By the end of your first phase, you would at least have 4 LinkedIn posts if you're posting weekly, maybe a certification or 2, a detailed analysis, and 1 event under your belt that you documented and studied, and you have more visibility, honestly, in the AI governance activity than 80% of the people applying for these roles. That's how you attract recruiters to your page. Now, let's look at the application. We've looked at the foundation. Let's look at the application of it, right? And really here, we're looking at just continuous reading, but you now shift from case study material to real failures, real vendor evaluations, real regulatory decisions, right? You might want to increase how much times you post on LinkedIn per week. You might want it to stay the same, but that's still okay. Reach out to people, at least 2 people currently doing this work, right? Not for jobs, but at least reach out to them and have conversations, or even just ask them to mentor you. Ask specific questions about some of the issues they face in their company with regards to AI governance, or how they basically are running the AI governance framework in their industry, right? And then maybe just have a detailed case analysis of 1 AI system, ideally 1 at your current company with permission. If there is none, ask your boss, your executives, about building an AI community of practice or an AI governance community of practice in your current company, so you can start practicing all days and exposing yourself, right? Then look at the different frameworks you can implement within your organization and suggest that to your AI governance community of practice or your AI governance center of excellence. Now, the next phase, by the end of this phase, you should have a portfolio of artifacts that you have done. Detailed analysis, certifications, and just relationships that you've built with people. So this is both your studies and how you should interact with people to get yourself that exposure and get your hands dirty with this. Now, the last phase of this is really just positioning and transitioning, right? Here you're reducing reading time and you're really increasing either writing time or interview practice or interview prep time. And again, practice is usually better, right? I have mentioned you can volunteer at an AI-related work at your current company, or even just look for volunteer opportunities in any other company and be that person who really asks the governance questions. Apply to jobs, at least 5 a week if you can, so that you start getting traction and even practicing with interviews and things like that, right? And then update your LinkedIn fully, positioning yourself for the job, apply to internal roles, if any, or mostly external roles if you're looking at transitioning. If you're looking at staying in your company, really this is an opportunity for you to present a case by reaching out to those involved within your company with AI, either risk, compliance, legal, product, program, and pitch to them the reason for which it is imperative that you build an AI governance framework for them. And usually I would say go with a draft you have already designed so that they see exactly what it is. And again, you're trying to explain to them why they need this program and the importance of such a program in the organization. Then you take the initiative to run it. This already gives you experience within the field. If you have been in compliance or risk, legal, it becomes easier because you probably have worked with your GRC team and it's easier for you to have those conversations with the GRC team, you know. And really, that would be your roadmap, right? You work in different phases, you build the different skills that you need to build and understand. And one thing I want to mention is that AI governance is one of the highest leverage career pivots available right now. And the path is really repeatable. The timeline is also reasonable, and the prerequisites, if you're disciplined, should not really be discouraging, right? I have watched people succeed in the most unorthodox way, sometimes even 3-4 months with my program. You see people getting jobs in 3 to 4 months. Because I bring that practitioner aspect or perspective into the program, you know. Usually some people read the same document 5 times. You just constantly play it in your mind, right? Post publicly and just, you know, they even ask senior people for just to have conversations around AI governance and things like that. And then they apply for stretch roles. They do the work when nobody is really watching. So the applied version of everything I just walked through is what I teach in my governance certification program. And it's built specifically for people who want to make this transition, right? It is a 12-week intensive program, usually a small cohort, and applied casework. If you're interested in this, maybe you can join the waiting list. If you're earlier in your thinking, the AI Governance Quick Start Checklist is a free starting point for you. And you can also follow the AI Literacy series or the AI Governance series and just understand exactly what this is and where you need to be. This might seem like a lot, but trust me, it is not as much as you think. It is very doable. A lot of people did it. I came from a very traditional background, spanning diplomacy to solutions architect, and today AI governance. And I think anyone can really do it if you're ready for this. So that would be your roadmap. First 3 months, really focus on getting the foundational aspect of it. I also gave you the different skills with AI literacy, understanding the regulatory landscape, which would involve different principles as well. And then, of course, your soft skills. And then build this in different phases, your 12-month roadmap, what your first month, your phase 1 month should be through month 4, building that foundation. Then month 5 to 8 is really applying what you have studied in the first month that incorporated your different skills you were learning. And then, of course, before you know it, in the last phase, you would have achieved or at least gotten a job or prospects in that aspect. So in the next video, I would be answering the question most people transitioning in this field are actually afraid to ask. How do you break in when you don't have direct experience, right? And the 5 paths that worked, the interview scripts that get past maybe just experience questions to what not to do. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with someone whom you think would be interested in a role in AI governance. It is a very, very interesting role. I love it so far, and trust me, when you get into it, you envisage and you look at AI in a completely or from a completely different lens. Okay, I would see you in the next video.